Welcome to Greg's Gruns. A lot of you guys know I live in western North Carolina, and we had a little bit of a hurricane situation for the past month or so. It's kind of sad, but a lot of the community pulled together, and we're starting to rebuild. It's pretty bad. A lot of the mainstream media is not really covering it. I won't get into that conspiracy, but as you can see, there's a lot of trees, a lot of downed trees, a lot of flood damage. This is just one tree, basically. But during the hurricane, my wife and I stayed put for a while, and then we kind of bugged out. We wanted to get a hot shower, resupply, stay with some relatives nearby, and I took 5 rifles in addition to my normal concealed carry gun. This is not one of them, although this is a cool gun. But stay tuned for the 5 rifles that I took with me. And I'm not going to cover all of the other extraneous, food and water and, ammo and shit like that. I'm just going to talk about the rifles that I took and why I took them. So the first gun that I immediately grabbed to leave town was the IMI Desert Eagle in .44 Magnum. It has stellar reliability, and it's incredibly powerful, right? I mean, do you really need any other guns? I don't think so. Just kidding. One of the first guns that I actually grabbed was this. Maybe not the best ballistically performing gun, but in terms of a gun that anybody can pick up if they know how to use an AK. It's really light, it's suppressed, and this little guy lived right in the passenger seat where my wife was sitting, so she was my door gunner. It had a towel over it, but this was an immediate oh shit gun. It's lightweight, it's powerful, certainly more powerful than a pistol. It's an AK. I had to take an AK. Also, it's my crank. I have a little bit of a sentimental attachment to this gun because it's so cool. It wasn't the first one I grabbed, certainly not the most practical, but stay tuned for the rest of my choices. Much to the ruffian's surprise, I produced the Krinkov when he runneth up on me. Helps to have the stock.
Hey man, what's your fucking problem?
Scallywag.
Oh shit, man. I'm fucking sorry, bro.
So obviously, you take a hit with barrel length, but even suppressed, I mean, I can just have this thing on my lap, and it's pretty cool. This video is brought to you by Greg's Grips. This is definitely an American-made 1911 with actually American-made Carlo Walnut Double Diamond grips made by yours truly. Available at gregsgrips.com. Also, Hudson H9 or Daniel Defense H9 grips are available too if you have one of those and you want to beautify your Daniel Defense H9. I make walnut grips or any other kind of wood. Just send me a DM and I'll get you hooked up. All right, gun number 2 on the list is Gordy. This happens to have an Allen Engineering can on it. It's got the 12.5 barrel. It doesn't have the 14.5 barrel, but that's okay. I will probably eventually build a 14.5 Gordy, but the 12.5 is pretty good. I grabbed this one. It seems a little odd, right? It's a retro rifle. It's got a retro aim point on there with the old rheostat, but it still works. Larry Vickers would be proud. But yeah, I mean, why am I taking a carry handle AR? Because it's still really pretty damn good. It's very quiet with the can on there. It's very light and pretty short, not terribly cumbersome. And you'll notice I'm not taking any like, long range precision guns or hunting guns or whatever. Like I'm going in and out of my car and in and out of houses and stuff. I don't want, something that's really big and cumbersome. And this is really very lightweight. Obviously has a PMag because, let's face it, GI mags are not the most reliable. But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was really good like 30 years ago, and it's really good now. It's not in full auto, of course, but that's okay. And it's got a little flashlight on there. So that's number 2. All right, so Gordy is pretty cool. I guess the one downside is that instead of leaving the aim point on, you have to turn up the rheostat all the way, so it's not like as fast to get into action. These Car 15 stocks are super short. They're a lot shorter than an M4 stock, but it is very quiet and lightweight. And because it only has a 12.5 barrel, that saves you a couple inches of, it's obviously not the best for ballistics, but it does save you a little bit of weight up front. So this thing only weighs like probably 6 pounds with all of the shit on it. So of course I brought my night vision with me, not only because I didn't want somebody looting my house and taking it, but because the power was out in a lot of areas, and if you have night vision, you are able to monitor your area without, hopefully, without anybody noticing that you're there. So I took my night vision with me, and of course I had to have a kind of a nighttime dedicated gun. The guns that I've talked about before were not really set up for night vision, but this one is. It's got the D-Ball D2 laser on there, illuminator and laser. It's got an EOTech, and I shoot this one at night vision, or excuse me, at night matches a lot. For those of you guys who don't know, it is a Galil Ace in 5.56 with the Rock and Lock magazines. This is a South African magazine. Man, this thing just fucks. It's just a really nice, tiny little gun. Of course, the stock folds, much like the Krink. It's about the same size as the Krink. See if I can fold it on camera. There we go. And it's a pistol, so you don't have to worry about NFA bullshit. You also see that I've got an X300 on there. A lot of these guns have X300s on them because it's just a really convenient light to put on anything. I know it's supposed to be a pistol light, but it works okay for a rifle, especially kind of like a nighttime close and dirty rifle like this. And it's got a South African R4 sling on there. So that's my nighttimes gun for the night times. It's a little heavy, but that's okay. So this is my nighttime rig. It's obviously kind of hard to demonstrate under night vision because I don't, well, one, it's not nighttime, and two, I don't have my night vision with me, so kind of hard to film. This has an EOTech on there. Basically a nighttime crank. All right, so gun number 4, and this is kind of redundant with the Gordy carbine. This is not suppressed, and it's got an ACOG on there. I know they make carry handle ACOGs, but this one is not a carry handle, and it's got a bipod. Some people were kind of questioning my choice of putting a bipod on this gun because it's an M4, right? It's not like a Mark 12 or something. This is actually off of my Mark 12. It's just a Harris bipod, and why not? Why the fuck not have it? It is definitely better to have a more stable position if you can take the weight, which, driving around in vehicles, it's not really a big deal about weight. Not to mention this gun is really not that heavy to begin with. Of course, it's got X300 on there. I just slapped that on there because this gun didn't have a light. It's got a Blue Force Gear sling, kind of tidy on there. Vertical grip, totally not necessary, but I do like those. And it's got a coupled P-mag. You can see it's got 60 rounds on tap, and this is kind of like, shit's really gone sideways. I'm gonna grab this thing. It is still pretty compact, and it's not that heavy, and I can set down on the hood of a car or something like that, and I've got a nice optic with a piggyback mount, so I can shoot stuff up close too. Some of you guys are going to ask, and I am running 77 grain IMI Razor Core, which is hot as shit. 77 grain 5.56. If it's good enough for the Jews, I guess it's good enough for me. I wanted to run some kind of really hot 77 grain stuff because that definitely tends to work pretty well, especially out of short barrel guns. So shooting off a tripod, or excuse me, a bipod is, this is kind of the situation I envisioned, is shooting off the hood of my car. It's definitely a lot more stable than not having a bipod. I don't have a rear support bag or anything like that. Like I said, it's not a precision rifle setup, but it does have a nice magnified optic on there, and you have a really awesome brightness control here, which is just a piece of tape that I put on top of the ACOG. So this is terrible lighting conditions. The sun is in my face and I'm trying to shoot stuff that's in shadow. It's pretty much the worst that it could possibly be. But that's okay because ACOG has really nice glass. And this would be really frickin' hard to do with the red dot. Yeah, much harder to do with just a red dot. You can do it, but having an optic is nice. And also, these have little mag pods on the bottom of them, so a little more stability. The final gun I brought was this. It's a 1022 with a red dot on it. It's suppressed, and I've got subsonic CCI in it right now. This is not really most people's idea of a battle weapon, but it's nice to have something that's truly like silent almost. It sounds much like an air rifle or something like that, maybe even quieter. And the real reason I brought it was because my parents' house have kind of a squirrel infestation. I didn't shoot any this time, but if the opportunity arose, I had this thing. But, you know, you can use it for small game hunting or shooting things really, really, really quietly. And it weighs absolutely nothing. So, you know, you can put this in a duffel bag or something like that, and it's not even apparent that you have a rifle in there because it's so light. But, yeah, a suppressed 1022. It's definitely more useful than like a suppressed 22 pistol, which would, of course, be a lot smaller, but this is much better for, you know, small game hunting and stuff like that. And if you guys are wondering, this is a rugged Oculus 22 on there, and it's very quiet. So there's only one more gun on the list, and that's the IMI Desert Eagle in 44 Magnum. Just kidding. I did not bring this gun. This gun is, well, it's just plain silly. But this gun is not. This is very practical, and you don't even need your ear pro. In fact, I'm going to take mine off. And it's pretty much completely, not completely silent, but it's pretty damn quiet. Certainly accurate enough for, you know, minute a squirrel or whatever. or, you know, whatever nefarious deeds you want to do quietly. I think anybody who survived Helene really kind of got a reality check for their disaster preparedness. And, you know, the camping stuff came out. If you had water purification, you know, that stuff came out. Extra food, you know, do you have extra food in your house? Kind of the stuff, same stuff with COVID and quarantine, except you had no internet, you had no power, you had no water, and you also had no cell service, which of course means that you can't use your phone to look stuff up. You can't use your phone to call anybody. You have no comms if you don't have walkie-talkies or anything like that, or sat phone. So cell service was down for us for 3 days, and it was kind of scary. You know, we couldn't communicate with loved ones, couldn't message anybody or post anything. That doesn't really matter, but you couldn't look anything up. And it was getting to be a little bit hairy by day 3. And, you know, there was no gas, obviously. All the gas stations were knocked out. Some of them were destroyed. The grocery store started opening back up, cash only, around day 3, 4. But, you know, the first 2 days, if you didn't have some kind of way to purify water, you're kind of boned. Like, you know, you can drink water out of a creek, but you're going to probably get giardia or something really nasty. So getting back to firearms and guns and stuff like that, people who don't think about this stuff on a daily basis, you know, it's kind of, people start getting desperate, especially for gasoline. Guys, keep a 3/4 tank, 3/4 of a tank full gasoline at all times in your car. It's something that I try to do. I'm not 100% about it, but the hurricane was going to hit, and I was like, you know what? Might be nothing, but I'm just going to fill my car up with gas, and I'm so glad I did. I should have probably filled up a couple containers of gas, but nobody knew. Nobody knew how bad this hurricane was going to be. So, yeah, especially gasoline in our areas. Some people got shot. Some people got into fights. It was pretty bad because it's a limited resource. When you have no power, that's your source of power. So you run generators, chainsaws, any small engine. Your car obviously uses gasoline. So that is the big resource that people are going to fight over. So you should probably have your own strategic petroleum reserve. I know I'm going to build one up as soon as gas is a little more available. Thank God our community, the Western North Carolina community, is a bunch of pretty good people. Of course, there's assholes out there. There's dirt bags. But people really pulled together, at least in my neighborhood, helped each other out. And it was all good because stuff started to come back, right? Grocery stores started to open. Power took a while, but certainly gas started to become more available, but it was starting to look kind of bleak. And if you don't have a way of defending yourself, you're basically, again, you're boned. It's just part of a wide disaster preparedness plan.
I think he scared the mailman. Mailman says, no mail for me today. He's a shitty mailman anyway.
Aren't they all?
Hope he doesn't see this. Hope he doesn't subscribe to Greg's Runs.
Probably does not. Hello there. As you all know, the Patriots have raised the prices on everything to stimulate the war economy. This means that the cost of production has really gone up. If you feel like supporting the channel, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Share the video. And if you want to be really good, click the link below for the Patreon.